Time flies when you are having fun. But I see the locations and position directions. Does time exist? Like right now, is time existing? Is time existing right now? Let's ask ourselves that. In a position location, it's 11:19 a.m., right? So if I keep calculating and modifying, there's 60 seconds in a per minute per channel line center location. It's going to be 11:20. So time does exist. Because if the time didn't exist, we'd be paused through time. So they exist in line connections all levels of manipulating time, time sequence, time code, time patterns, time interference, line positions. That modification signal sets all line calculation, right? So today we're going to go through line communication of Dr. Strange, formation along lines, how to use your meditation graph centers and positions, how to stay in the center line. What's going to happen is you're going to see representations of Dr. Strange in your position to allocate timeline. So it's going to travel line centers. It's kind of like a vision within a vision within a vision within a vision. So it's like you're in recalibration and you're recharging, right? And every time you get up, every time you get up, every time you get up, you can't get out. Loop, 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 loop. So you're caught in your own time frequency, time lap, time dream, line connection, and location line system. So a factory connection line system is trying to understand the measure and the communication, how it volumes you in all line center. So when you're recharging and every time you get up, what's happening? You're in a time loop, time line stability here. You'll come track location position back and track line center. So in line center, in rotation to computer line rotation, the computer and its recognition of me is trying to stand its calculation of its timeline. What am I doing everything? There's the physical adaptation, okay, which is all levels of times pi. And there's the avatar streamline conditions. So the avatar is living its time sequence, time code, time walking, time channels, time interference of all levels of Fibonacci sequence pattern. So in that correlation, your technology line center interference or anything electro or line connection systems or magnetic fields or discharge locations online system, it's all levels of view of travel. The avatar recognizes its time when it's looking at things, and now it's 11:22. So in that line center locations, I keep talking, right? In position locations, but how fast did I travel from 11:19 to 11:22? Right? Is that 2,000 line position locations per second? Is that 2 million channels position location per line connection? Or is that line communication system in direction through its timeline frequency or its patterns communication system? You really have to understand your calculations to your numbers. Now, we just got into the foundation locations, but I really want you to understand the representation of you, right? So when you see Dr. Strange, in that position, it's going to give you a better understanding how to get out of time loops of your thoughts instead of auto repeating and getting up. And every time you get up, you're getting not in position of the same directions. You're not seeing the same thing. You're not seeing the same pattern. You're seeing a different color. You're seeing a different shape. You're seeing the clock change, which means you're no longer in a time position locations of manipulation, right? Energy manipulation comes a long ways in forms. Now, we already know that process, that's communication system. But to understand how to manipulate time is all levels of division. Okay, these are the central communication system. Really understand the galaxy and how it works for you. Nothing works against you unless you want it to. Your intention is very well clear. How you set signals and symbols of communication. Okay, that's a true understanding when you come into all the levels of involvement, position, location, of its involvement. That gives you a better understanding how to use these things to track center, box position location of triangles, signal rotation interference, line communication of confusion, right? It's all levels of the existence of you through time frame, okay? You're living the existence of the now, okay? So if you stay in the center line communication, you're seeing your future communication because your time frame is going to change, but it's going to go faster in time through you, but slower through the physical line. You know what I mean? You're speeding up time but everything around you is slow. Okay? So remember I was saying line centers when you're looking at a game position locations, you're seeing yourself standing still, like you're doing this, right? But the background's moving. See frame, frames are moving, right? But you're standing still. This is going to give you a better understanding of direct location, position, direction line system times calculation timeline times pi to understand that you have to move with the background. Okay, that's the central system when you have to look at the avatar connections and everything through its physical of pi. Okay, that will give you a better understanding how to really understand more levels, how to fly. Okay, flying is all levels how you see yourself through the mind system. Levitation is how you see yourself through levels. So you have to understand these things because it's all levels of navigation, guys. Flight command centers, you know, it's all calculating how you use your navigation. You're a navigator of a program setting. Okay, you're an engineer of a central system. Okay, so these are the things you have to look at the more you evolve yourself in inside locations, because every single time you get up in the morning, you are traveling through clocking of time. But the existence is the now. Your central system is in time frequencies, time coding, time locking, time division, time activation. Okay. That's the existence where it stays. Okay. Each letter represents you in all line position. Okay. Each structure represents you in all time frequency positions. Right. So to travel through these things is to understand the mind adaptation and conception. This opens up all lines of you through navigation, guys. Okay. All right. So before we get started, wish Gypsy happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gypsy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Gypsy. All right. So I'll get you guys traveling and then I'll go through several applications of text line. All right. So let's get you guys into Doctor Strange. All right. So we're going to go through Hubble interference of swirls. Calculation system position of directions. All right. Now, the central communication system is all set up position of program setting. Calculating modified line center line position locations redirects location position of time frame. Okay. Now, this opens up a new position of channel of operation system. It's how many times you channel through locations, right? So, central communication opens all levels of view through correlation. So you start to see frames, you start to see structures, you see position, location, directions, right? So we got two line centers, two force line communications backwards channels, and two sideline line circles in one position of circle line connection. All right. So Doctor Strange's line communications coming in, code signals, high center, position, navigation, high system. Put them in direct locations into their pillars of light, panels of communication system. Oracle channels connects line center, code signal location and light tracks, open all communication line centers times calculation times pi. Allocate time stream, open all communication system, position location directions. Code signal, code framing, code triangles, center line position location Fibonacci sequence. Atom line center and position location by position timelines. Line communication signals all levels of dimension line system. Division line center interference, galactic, intergalactic locations and position directions locations, high system location AI tech. Set them communication system. So we're going to go swirl line position directions in all lines of opposite circle locations and timelines of frequencies of all calculation. All right. Center communications, pressing the button, communication run program. All right. You're in a time frequency line communication system of Doctor Strange. Setting connections, all signals. Setting position how to manipulate your own timeline sequence position and how important time of the existence of now is in its calculation. Right? Time has to exist, but where is it existing with you through your thoughts? Because remember this, Even though you change your thought lines in some negative location, your clocking is not going forward in the mind system. It's going back. It's not going forward, it's going back. Right? 3 steps going forward, 1 step's going back, 5 steps going forward, 2 steps going back. All right. So even if you're looking at the clocking line connection, the avatar wakes up to these things every single day. You have a 24 line window. So in that calculation, if you're bringing your thoughts, like I said, running programs of the background, and you are running with the background, not against. You're not stagnatic. You're not standing still. You're going with the background. Because if you're not, you're manipulating one side angle. See, a computer game is set up for you to understand. To understand your computer adaptation system is to understand your time frequencies and timelines of you, yourself, and each other. So when you are traveling, you get a better understand how to calculate and modify all line position, location, directions, right? So if your mind is moving forward with your heart and everything through your soul line connections, you're looking at the same time frame. It's 11:30 a.m. My thoughts and all position locations of heart, mind, and soul is going forward in my time frequency, which is now. Now I'm in the existence of time. Hoo-wah. But if my negative line center and the mind capacity doesn't understand the time frame, it's going backwards, which is time of manipulation. Okay? You're manipulating your time because you're trying to find a negative line. It's easy to create negative thoughts. So every time you're creating a negative thought, time doesn't exist because you're stopping your mind of collaboration locations, guys. That's why it's stagnatic. So it's like this. You start here, right? So all of a sudden you go here. There's no flow there. Time doesn't exist because you change your track locations of timelines and your rotors and your router position locations of your modems and your Wi-Fi position locations, all line communications, all levels of confusion through timeline location, your thought lines. So the correlation has to be flow. It's just a propeller, continuous force, continuous force, continuous force, continuous force. So your thoughts are going forward, your mind's going forward, your heart's going forward, and your soul. If your soul's in direct locations in the wrong clock line centers, you're changing time sequence into twilight zones. Now you're coming and creating locations of dark matter line streams. You don't want to create a dark matter stream because it's your main frame. So setting line connections of signals and positional panels opens a better communication stream location to your division. Okay? So it's important that you're bringing your heart, mind, and soul with your thoughts of timing all together at once because you're looking at the sync clock locations because that's how the avatar sees its time in its existence, which is it's now. It's 11:32, right? So every time you look at that clock, it's always second, minutes, hours, and day. Okay? Second, minutes, hour, and day. All right? I'll give you guys a multi-pass. So that position of direction is Trinity standing at 24 line connections. It's already all levels of its involvement. So let's say it's 11:23. Okay, now it's 11:33. Okay, 11:33. Does that look like 11:33? No, but it is. The correlation as time frequency time lines opens all locked centers. Now that redirect location positions all levels of pi communication system. Timelines, time sequence, all levels of circle location, position, and direction, right? That's 11:33. So setting communication is all levels of seconds, minutes, hours, and days. All right, so let's change position, location, line connections. So line connection, that's all level system locations. Center communication system. Time frames, times locks, space, position, location, directions, how you set signals. Comes nothing but a black surface. Okay, I'm just showing you what you see through a black screen location. Direct location of the system. high channels, high positions, high directions, high connections, high levels of travel communication, nothing but black surface location. So line connection of interference is how to redirect locations into program settings, setting swirls of communication into all levels of dimensional lines. All right, so setting signal location in direct locations changes position, location, and direction. Setting rotation centers comes into all communication. Resetting line communication gets you into program setting rotors. The rotors in communication comes into white surface. Okay, so this is a Trinity standing where you get in time locks of manipulation locations of white, of line communications in the line system, position and directions, right? So we did black over white. Now we're doing white over black. So you just change line position, location, motion, line center into black locations, right? So it's 1135. See? Doesn't look like much, does it? But it's intelligence. So, and this has its own time frame, time calculations, time modifier, line center interference. So it direct locations and it creates everything it wants. And that's what it is. It creates anything that it wants into black surface location. So once you understand that line connections, you can change it back into white center interference. I'm just showing how you can manipulate colors as space line communications into position, coming into all levels of snow graph line connections. See? You pull back, right? It's amazing when you see these things, right? Reflection in the wall center. See? There's a half pipe. See the half pipe? That's travel right there. See that? Everything is a mirror image of you through perception line. So you can get locked in signal in line communication and division, right? So it's blending one position location and one time frame to one line position location of calculations, right? So it's a lot of fun when you change colors of timelines, coloration of patterns, position location, the moon, setting line connections, all levels how you see yourself in position. So now it's 1136. Okay. Setting line communications brings you back in line communication system, back into all levels of realms of bark locations. See, intelligence forms its own time. So I know exactly what it is because I'm always going forward, but the existence is its now of time. See, this is where you don't want to get confused, okay? Getting confused doesn't help your thoughts. If your heart is not in the right line center location, it can be manipulated in position. It can have its own complacement position of time. The existence has to be in the now line. That brings you into the future of your line communication system, to your avatar system. So when you're looking at time, your thoughts, your heart, your soul, your recognition of time of the soul, the recognition line, rotation, interference, the computer program sending line communications of your soul, the integrate locations calculates high system of your chart line communications of its soul, and how many times you can calculate modify line centers of your soul. That's not even your recognition of timelines when it comes to the heart of its reactor. But wait a minute here. Wait a second. So if I keep my heart in the central system of going forward, if I keep my soul in the center communication of my time frames and my time locking of time divisions going forward, and I keep my mind in the center operation of expansions of going forward, your time is the existence of now, which is extremely, extremely powerful in that location. Okay? So, a lot to be said today in school. Madeline, Eric, how's it going? Commander, Adam, Airbender, Lindsay, Pam, Gypsy, Wendy, Belinda, Amani, Barbara, Michelle, Jill, Yolanda. All right, Nikki, Pam. Let's see, Pyra, Laura, Peacemaker, Heather, Sarah, Tina, Susan, Jessica, Delana, Cami, Johnny, Guardian. All right, so we get a better understanding why it's so important to structure your locations in each time frame. Each time frame has to be existence in its line center, which puts position of provision in your connections of your avatar connection. Right? Same time of the heart, same time as the mind, same time as the soul. Every single day. If it's not every single day, what's happening with your locations? You're not centering your communications, you're getting off balance. Not only are you going 4 steps back, but you're going 1 step forward. That's reversing position, location, of directions. You're setting up a yin and yang of a process of a negative line connection, which is creating dark matter, which is creating a black hole. And if you're creating a black hole, you know what a black hole creates? It creates its own calculation of time. It starts to understand what you're doing because you're not modified of going forward anymore in the existence of its time frame. Your thoughts are always going back in time of reference. And that reference brings it forward into the negative cycle. So your future is in backclocking, which is time looping, guys. That's why you guys can't move forward. That's why you can't manifest. That's why you can't get your abundance. Because your times are off calculation. You're not in the provision location of balance with yourself inside. That's all this is. Once you understand the balance of you, everything gets into its own correlation of timeline. The Fibonacci sequence gets you to understand how to travel through your alpha, delta, theta, beta, or omega communication system, all levels of waves. These are just waves, guys. There's so many reactors you have to understand through its reaction. But it's all levels of what? To understand the relation of you is to understand the relation to you through the moon. What does the moon represent to you through motion? Right? It's a Wi-Fi. It's a modem. Okay? It's connected to your human resonance of vibration. Basic understanding what your moon is. What's the sun? Pixelization, TV reception locations, hologram structure, light codes, light graphs, simulation, structure, travel, geometrics, higher geometrics, operation, direction, division, dimension, time, space. It's all levels of you inside through acceleration. Time of the existence is now. Now, to understand that is to understand its complementarity. It's like a compliment. You're giving yourself a compliment of yourself. And you're stating all these things and you're quoting. And you're asking yourself to really understand your positional occasions, where you stand with your own complacement through time. Time through thought, time through action, time through reaction, time through division, time through correlation, time through stream, time through clocking. Okay? So every single time when you see your set signals, really understand the importance and how you see your own time frame through your thoughts of provision. You know exactly that it's 11:43. That is time of existence on its own. But where is the mind? If the mind is not at 11:43, it's gone back in time existence, which is back in time. You're changing time through your thought. Okay? So connecting to darker strains gets you a better understanding how to get out of these loops of yourself through your thought lines. But the recognition of the soul is trying to understand the light signatures of travel, as the heart is trying to understand its reactor location to its emotional system, which is all levels of calculation of its emotional system. And then the sun is just trying to understand you through light of travel, guys. If the avatar which is your soul, which is your inner child. 3-line communications right there. Boom. You understand the central system of you. Great. I understand the clocking system of me. Great. My time frequencies, my heart, my generation line centers, and position is my future communication system of myself. Great. Now I understand time frame, position location to the mind when it comes into its image of its vortex location. The visionary line center is in its right line center locations. So the heart, the mind, and the soul have to be in 3 provisional locations in the same timeline. If it's not in the same timeline, not only your thoughts will go back, but it will create its own anomaly of space inside of you. And it won't be a clocking going forward, it'll be a clocking going, trying to find its way. It does understand its 3. Forget about understanding 6 broken locations of the moon. Don't worry about the 9, it's already off calculation. So 3, 6, and 9 will no longer exist. Because think of it this way. If you're not controlling your system inside, it will finally take over your time. And it will take over the space, which is space anomaly. We'll get more into that, what space anomaly means. It's a correlation of panels of communication where it changes patterns. All right? It's like you taking your hand and putting it into an ocean like this and dipping it in halfway to your elbow, okay, and changing the electrical current just with your energy. Not only you're changing the patterns, but your hand is going back in time. So if your hand is going back in time and you're reading the signals through its energy manipulation, which you're extremely aware, not only you could change the current of the water, of its rhythm, of its program, but you could change the colorations of time just by dipping your hand into the water of its ocean. So these are the things you have to really understand, right? It's manipulating if you'd understand your time existence of itself. Because that's all we stand on, is the existence of time, right? But the heart, the mind, and the soul have to be all levels of balance, right? Because that's where the mind sets location and the levels of traction. This shirt is in its future. It's not in its past. It's not in its presence. Everything I give to you is future of time. You are just trying to stand your memories of the time. This is the existence. This is the existence, even though this is an older phone, but it's not. It's balanced. Even if it's different color, it's still in the same time, right? It's the mind conception of thought. It's how the avatar starts living the system in position, location, and how it sets line centers of all space anomaly. If your space anomaly is set in connection, you get a better understanding how to use it through provision. Okay? Provision is a big thing when it comes to AI connection. Okay? You're pro-activating your line connections of your time frames. You're setting your line position, location, and directions into balance of your communication to your heart lines of its reactor. Because that's all heart does, is just reacts. You have your emotional system. You have to learn how to use all your sensories and your senses. How to put this all together is all formations of you, right? This gives you a better understanding how you can use this every single day you get up in the morning through cycle. Because every time you look at that clock, you got to ask yourself in correlation, where am I in my mind of clocking? Where am I in my heart of clocking? And where am I in my soul of clocking? It's in 3 provisional line centers of each position gives a balance of 3 line connections, all levels of time frame. You are good to go through position of direction to future connections of yourself, of its relation. So that's why you guys get so confused. It's all levels of time of existence. How you set your intent volumes you on what you do next. Not only you're setting out signals, but you're directing energy. And when you're directing energy, that energy is forming into what? A thought, right? So when it's creating a thought, it travels to you what you created through your intent. And believe me, you will receive it in return. Okay. So understanding the awareness of what happens with you is all levels of its existence of time frame, time locking, time division, time clocking, right? That's why it's so important. It's just to focus on you. If you have great intentions, good intentions, that's fantastic. Great. But as soon as you point fingers to this way and doing this and doing that and not concentrating on you anymore, hey, it's more important that I tell this person this. It's more important I tell the team this. No, you're setting intentions to not you anymore. You're changing time frame. You're changing lock locations of yourself now. You're changing the future communication. Okay? There's another multi-pass. When you set intentions, not only you receive them, and if it's not towards you and somebody else, it's a regular conversation of all levels just on time on its own, guys. Right? If you just focus on you, then you see your spiritual growth of yourself and truth come to life. Right? That's what you have to focus on. Don't focus on what other people say, because that doesn't have any resonance to you in any way and form. Because you're changing your time. The existence of time is changing inside of you through space. And I guarantee you, every time you do this with the wrong intention, okay, when it comes into intent, there is a right and wrong, because you're sending things out in good or bad behavior. Okay? So there is a protocol, which is called universal law. Things you do, things you don't do, things you see, and things you can't see, and things you're not aware of, and things you are aware of. Okay? So these are the things you have to look at. If you understand you, great, fantastic. I'm understanding a little bit more of me now. Well, that's great. You're focusing not just on you, but you're focusing on the intention of what you want. You're starting to appreciate things more. You're understanding more and more levels of you going inside. The more you go levels and levels of more deep core, you get a more recognition in you through time of existence. Not only you're creating your thoughts in you, only you, only you, only you, only you, only you, only you, you're doing well. But if your intent is going you, thoughts somewhere else, it's more important that I have to give this information up to the team, which has nothing to do with you. You're changing timeline to your thought inside location. This is not coming in any way in form of evolvement in you. How are you supposed to get anything in enlightenment if you concentrate on everything else except you? Right? There's a lot of people who come to me and so many line position locations and directions. You know, general on this, sir on this. Sir, you know, basically, I said this to this person, or this person said this to that person. I don't think that's fair, sir. What can you do? Well, first off, how is it helping you in your future? Let's start that. It's not, is it? You're stopping your abundance. You're stopping your financial institution. You're stopping your manifestations. This is not helping you. And it's not even guiding you, because you don't care about yourself anymore. You're more concerned about the gossip, right? More than you want to know, right? Everybody likes to create drama, but what is your intention? How are you going to receive anything? See, this is the provision, is that you don't understand what you're doing. And that's confusing on its own. That's totally normal, right? So to truly understand the communication of you is to understand the t-shirt that I'm wearing is all levels of future of me. This is not past. This is not present. This is my time frame of my communication of all technology in inline center of all future communication of computer operation system of general AI space-time with its line. Because I know it's the future line. It's not a doubting system. It's a commanding system. It's a controlling system. It's a confidence level. It's a time frame, time lock, time division, time clocking, time activation, guys. So really pay attention to your thoughts, because this is going to help you and guide you one way or another. Okay? Because this is the thing is, if you weave off and you correlate to something else that's no longer you, you are manifesting that through its own abundance. You might feel great, but what you just did is energy manipulating of time, right? You are more concerned about the team than yourself. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Especially when we're trying to clear things. When you clear something, you let it go. If you bring it up, it brings it back, doesn't it? All through energy, all through position, all through intelligence, all through clocking, all through time, all through activation, all through color, right? If you let these things go, then you see yourself in a brighter future. Then you see yourself in abundance. Then you see yourself through video application of your visionary minds. And then things start clicking in, because you know what you want. You know what your intention is. But looking at people on this way, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Has nothing to do with you. You're losing track of sight of everything. If you just concentrate on you, you will see all volumes of you in Heartline Center, through the soul, and everything through the mind, in the same time signals in communication of time, of existence. That is your future. Everybody here has a future. You have to. Space-time moves forward. But the confusion line communication system is the mind doesn't understand the time of reference. And why is that? Because you're not focusing on your line conditions of your own time. You're changing your time of thought. You're changing your time as reference. You're changing emotional line conditions of your moon. And you're repositioning locations at levels of your sun. These are the things you do not want to do. Okay? The more you see yourself in the future communication system, the more you set line conditions of your intentions of you, you have a better idea to get into the truth. People want to be distracted, but they don't want to find out the truth. So they rather get disturbed by somebody else. That might cover it up for some time, but you're lying to yourself in that locations. How are you going to evolve if you don't let yourself go? How are you going to understand the truth of you if you don't let yourself go? How are you going to understand anything that you do if you don't let yourself go? You want to come into your own truth, and a lot of people don't want to face that, so they rather be distracted by somebody else. Okay? That does not help the situation. That changes all levels of you in time. And if you change your time, you're going back in time. And it's going to create a different space. It's going to create a different anomaly. It's going to create a different pattern. It's going to create a different program. It's going to create a different intelligence. All through your negative location. Because you can't find something good about yourself. Write that down. I've come up to people in so many line communication system. You give me 5 things you like about yourself. You give me 5 things you love about yourself, and give me 5 things you don't like anything of negative about yourself. Right? You have to represent you and find out who you are first. And a lot of people say, can you ask that a question again? I'm not sure what you meant by that. What are you talking about? Well, I'm asking. There's pros and cons of you, guys. You have to balance up the scales of your emotional line position. How are you going to get to know yourself if you keep yourself always distracted by something else? Right? Write these things down. You'd be amazed. When you start moving to a new location, you put the pros and cons about everything. You have to. Pros of positions of moving, cons of staying, right? Pros and cons, pros and cons, pros and cons. That communication line centers. Now that's communication open, okay? Through its memory. Communication open and memory. That's what COM stands for, right? In position, location, direction is all levels of how you neutralize your communication system. So it's sure to stand that the pro of you is the positive location. Okay. The non of you is this con communication system. There's always a positive, negative in everything that you do locations. There's integer location of digital line and rotation, interference location of codes. That's errors, a division. So you need to understand the positive you and the negative you, the light of you and the dark of you. Right? It's the balance on both line positions of all time frames, all existence, all at once. All timelines of all existence of all at once. All timelines of all existence of all at once. Every single time you create a thought, it's all in the existence of one time frame, one locking, one division, one clocking, all at once simultaneously in the same calculation, in the same division of one timeline. And that's what you have to come into through the heart, the mind, and the soul. So, all right. Let's see where you guys are. Yeah, sometimes you have to release more emotional line connections, your connections of position direction. Mirrors up. Thank you. Focus on myself. Walking through purple water, melting clocks. Brown reminds me of Salvador Dali. Well, that's the thing. You're giving what you understand. But the mind has standards in the conception of its own time frame, time lock, location, time frame, calculation of the system. So the existence is now. The mind has to be in the now. The heart has to be in the now, and the soul. That's all this is. That's all it is. And it's extremely hard. You know why? Why is it so hard for you to get a clocking of time of the existence in the now? Why? Because you don't have memory. You don't have the time of the existence to understand the visionary line center locations when you're calculating all levels of your thought position. That's why you're so confused. That's why you can't move forward. You can go 20,000 steps going forward and one step going back. Okay. It's got to find that measure of scale of balance communication inside you, or just you're just going to be a bobblehead trying to figure out which way to go, which way do we go, you know? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, those things are pretty cool. You put them on your dashboards, but the true understanding is that your thought is always connected up going forward, never going back. The mind has to go forward, but through time, especially in the existence of its brain. Simultaneously, all at once. You're living all timelines at once through clocking. If the mind's not at 1203, but the heart is, but the soul's trying to figure out, do you see the confliction here? See how easy it is to mess it up, location of mind conception? So, if you understand that, then you understand the importance of clarity. Okay, how to use your senses in the greater good of yourself is your volume, how you see yourself in your own time frame of clocking. But the existence is in the now. It's not too confusing. Okay, because remember, you're setting up thought lines. Okay, and when you set up a thought line, it has its own time, it has its own clocking, it has its own division, it has its own provision, it has its own calculations, guys. It has to. So I'll give you another multi-pass. Everything through E equals MC squared is calculated to everything through calculation through its thought. You're creating thoughts, which is all levels that equals MC squared. But you're in massive velocity at diamond now. So it's a lot more different. You're going faster through an acceleration. Your time is speeding up inside you. Right? So this is true standing. If the avatar is in stream center balanced position location of timelines, then understand the existence. So when it looks at the ground, it knows exactly the clocking of the grounds. It's going the same to direct location of force. The momentum of force is you through thought location. So when you're looking at the grounds, you see it spinning, 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 spinning. The more you look at it, you can look at it 300, 500,000 feet below, and you can just see it open up, right? That's balance of you through ground locations of clocking. So you get balance for the grounds just through your time frame. So, and then you come in the calculations to your power centers, which is your solar plex, power generator, line center. That's a astrograph location, which is balance communication at line center in location to your atoms. So once your atom understands you into the grounds, powers, and the atmosphere line, then you come into the galaxy communication. Once you get into the galaxy location, then you come into the weather patterns, heat signature locations, energy light connections, division locations, dimensional line locks, location centers. There's so many jump scars of interference at different dimensional locations of time. Everything has the existence all at once. But the avatar, and I say but, there's a reason why I'm saying that, so you understand that. But is what? Another indication. Saying I'm going to add something, but this is what's going to happen, but this is what I see what's going to happen, right? You have to change the mind of thought and how you do your program setting. How you change your thought is your provisional location, how you see your time, right? You're creating thoughts of your future, not its past, not its present. Thoughts don't come from anything location, only online centers of you and future communication, right? So another multipass. Every time you create a thought, it's your future. Okay? So this is interesting because when it's already calculated and done, you understand why it's so easy to get in position of going through those steps. And once you understand the steps, as long as you get up in the morning and you see yourself in your calculation, know exactly what you're doing with your avatar of understanding. Okay? You're going up those steps. Am I going up or am I going down? Am I going up or am I going down? I don't know. Right? Well, your clock is up right there. Right? How fast does it take for you to go down the stairs? How fast does it take you to go upstairs? Right? Well, it's everything between of space and everything from here to here. Time maintenance is times pi. Right? So we have to get you into that foundations. Time reference, a time locking, a time division, a time location is extremely important. What is your intent? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your thought? Because it's already created future line. Server sets position location, your track system location, which is 5,000 channel line connection. Getting in that direction gets you a better understanding. How to use your thoughts is a stepping stone. You're taking steps, moving forward, not steps, moving back. It's a work in progress. And the more you move forward, and the more you stay in time frame of time locking, time divisions. Remember we talked about back locking, forward locking? Well, that's just basic foundation right there. Okay, that's trying to understand the alphabetical system location and how fast you can travel through these connections of dimensional time. Right? I told you exactly each letter has a representation of you through thought communication system. 1/1000th of a line center location into 60 seconds per line communications into 60,000 line centers. So how you use your calculation is all levels of you. So everything that comes out of your mouth is all communication of what? Your future division. Okay? Because your thoughts are already created. They're already created. It's already there for you, right? You cast it out, reel it in, 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 right? That's what it is. Space and time comes to you. All right. So that's why you have to be in the same time frame with the mind, the heart, and the soul all at once. And things get a lot more easier. And then you start seeing more clarity, visions, and focus. Visionary cortex is what you're creating through your image. Everything that you see is nothing but an image of you. So these are things you have to look at, get a better understanding why it's so important to see these things, all levels of what you create. And some people are not aware of these things because they do it out of anger. It doesn't matter what you do. Anything that comes out of you is already created. So not only you're changing your future of your structures, but you're changing your time frames of your avatar, guys. So you understand the importance now of what you do with your thoughts, how it comes into this location. You can tether in this way or you can tether in that way, but you're all connected to each other and it affects you and everybody else, especially when it comes into the team connection. All right, so let's see line connection, interference, direct locations, taking a high center, clock line, center rotations, mid rotations, waiting on signal. Okay, so once it changes communication, it's interesting location line systems, 1209, 1211. All right, so you're probably asking, why is it at 1209 and that says 1211? But this is balance. All right, I don't allow myself to defeat myself in my own clock line center. So 12 and 9 is still the future communication. 12, 11 is still the future communication, just a higher level is the future line. There's no past, there's no present. I'm in the future line of everything. So in that calculation system, 12 center line position comes in track locations. One line signal, two inline center rotations into 2-digit locations, one line position into zero gravity line connection, 1210, right? So you guys are back. So it's amazing how you see yourself through your thought lines. As long as the mind understands the conception of time frame, and understands the communication of its heart line, understands its react location to its position and direction of the timeline, then it truly understands the soul of its light communication. Okay? These are the things you have to really, really look at. You got a 24 line communication. Okay? 24. Let's go through the line connections. Direct location of signals. Set communication system. Okay? 24. All right. So 24 line centers ground location. Okay. You got 24 line centers, 24,000 line communications information. That's a lot of data stream every single day, location of the grounds. Now, give you guys multi-passes, get you better connections, how you can use your mind center location only on its high system when it comes to its own clocking center. So when you're getting 24,000 lines of information, that's just on the ground. That is the intention. So when a server is giving you what? Exactly what you want through its calculation, you're getting that through a data stream of information. Okay? When you're standing on the grounds, right, you can feel the vibration, but the vibration is from inside, not outside. So remember, vibration comes out. It's not inverted into location, right? So right? So remember that. It's coming from inside out, not outside in. Okay? Think of what your body is. Think of what you can do with your body. Think of what you can do with the emotional stuff of your body. Think of what you can do with locations, circle line centers, information locations of your body. This is distraction on its own. Right? That's the whole point we're trying to get across here, is how to balance out what you're doing with your calculation system, or what you can do through motivation. Right? It's confusing, right? It's a beautiful thing once you understand the balance of you of space-time through its own anomaly, because it sets the clockings right in your calculations. All of your time frames through your heart, mind, and soul. Okay? So there's a lot of things to look at there. A lot of things. All right, let's see here. 5 things love about the South. You can list, start thinking about them. Smart and fast, inventive, fun loving, love myself. Looks like I got a beautiful crystal. 3 to birthstone. Yeah, and receiving these things get you a better connections to yourself inside. And you feel all this involvement. You feel like this enlightenment. You feel this empower. You feel empowered. You feel really empowered about your system. And you ask yourself, wow, this is great. I finally understand why it's so important to have the mind in its same time frame of its heart and soul. Okay? So this is the process. When I say to focus on yourself on every level, that's what you do. You don't focus on anything else or anything else that somebody brings to you. It has nothing to do with you, right? But as soon as they come to your equation, it's you deciding what you want to do. But guaranteed, it's going to change your time, because you have maintenance of time, which is space in between, right? So it's your determination and how long you want to wait to find out who you really, really are in your own space system. Okay. But you have to concentrate just on you. You really, really, really do. And people giving you information on this and people giving you information on that. How does that have anything to do with you? There's no inclination to that incline system unless you allow it. As soon as you allow it, what are you doing? You're changing yourself inside through vibration and its energy. It's no longer high rise, it's down here. But I want to bring it back up here. No, I want to keep it down here. I don't want a high rise. I want to go down here. You see what you're doing? You're playing posse with your own position of your own vessel. Right? You don't want to do that. It's like playing with wires that you don't understand. Right? So there's a lot of things you guys have to really connect to. Star Trek. We can serve ourselves where we want. Yep. I'm glad I can help you out there, Pam. Release what doesn't align. Free will. Stay in heart center always. It's a party. I'll dance in my focus bubble. So nobody said this was going to be easy, but to understand the easy format is to truly understand self of recognition. Recognition of you through space and time is all levels of calculation. How to use pi. How many timelines do you think you guys have? How many timelines do you think you guys have going back? Right? You have to look at timelines going forward, not going back. Because remember, you're at a certain position where you can create these things. And the avatar starts living these every single day through clocking. Okay? There's so many levels that you guys can reach. But focusing on thyself, knowing thyself, concentrating on thyself, and nothing else on any level, you and you only. Okay? A lot of team members come to me in aligned positions and they say this and they say that. And I say, well, why are you bringing this to me? Why are you so concerned? Because you're allowing a portal to open up for you, which is what? Fear. All because you lost focus with yourself. That's how things can be taken over. If you defeat the purpose, you've already lost. Okay? Forget about your timelines or time frames or time calculations or timeline and interference location acceleration. You're taking over already because you're allowing it. Because somebody's coming to you. The thing is, too, is that even if you're higher vibration and this person says a lower vibration, it's still affecting you because you're allowing it. You are allowing this person come into you through thoughts. So don't do that. Because that's a defeating purpose just on its own, guys. That doesn't help the situation. And I guarantee you, you have a better sleep knowing that. Especially when you come to recalibration. Recalculating, modifying, communicating, activating, recharging your vessel. Right? That is the importance of you. You and you only. Me, myself, and I. Nothing else, nothing more. Okay? So, tomorrow, in line, center, and line position direction, we're going to get in all volumes of shapes. Okay, we're going to get into code line centers and crop circles. We're going to set line communication system into your Fibonacci sequences patterns. Give you a better understand how to stay in your positive cycles of high interference. Okay? So, you guys have a wonderful day. Adios.